out for now. Jordan and Andrew are still in the protocols for now. Did everybody else practice?
No. Andre did not practice. Had a little swelling in his knee, and so he got treatment. And then anything else, you can look at NBA.com later for the information on other stuff.
How has Jonathan responded since the other night?
Yeah, he was fine. He was fine.
Steve, I know you said everyone is going through this, so it's not just specific to the Warriors, but I guess the past week or so since this spike has really taken life, how difficult has it just been navigating life in the NBA?
Well, it's difficult, but we've all kind of been through this now the last couple of years at varying degrees, and it's much better than it was a couple of years ago where everybody was terrified and the whole world shut down. At least we know more now. So I feel like there's less panic. There's plenty of concern, but it feels like we at least know what we're dealing with, and you just manage accordingly, whether it's me or Bob Myers or any of the teams in the league. We all have to just follow the league's policies, protocols, and keep playing and keep moving forward.
Have you felt the need to switch up any team rules or encourage people to get boosted or anything of that sort? Any heightened concern?
Yeah, we communicate with our team really daily about all this stuff, and we encourage all of them to be as safe as possible and to do the things that we've all learned are important if we're going to stay safe.
Even times like this, how important is it for you guys to have the depth that you have on the roster?
Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, everybody is going through this stuff at varying degrees. I mean, Brooklyn hasn't even been able to field a team. Some teams have, been relatively unaffected, and then we're kind of in between, with some guys out. So the depth of this year's team is definitely a big factor in allowing us to continue to push forward during times of injury or anything else that's going to keep players out. So, hopefully that continues.
With the league allowing or authorizing additional signings outside, do you know if you guys have looked at that already, or is that something you'll get to at some point?
We're planning on signing Quindary Witherspoon, bringing him from Santa Cruz, which is he'll be very helpful. He's a wing. Obviously we've got we're without several wings, and we need to have some depth there. So Quindary will be helpful.
You talked briefly the other night about Andre's impact on the game Monday. And I guess in Boston, he had a good game as well. And one aspect of his game that kind of jumped out watching that Celtics game on television was his hands, which I know has been talked about a lot over the years. But he had a couple steals where he just stripped the guy, as he's done many, many times. I'm curious if you have any particularly good stories or sort of the roots of that, of his hands and how much of a factor they've been throughout his career.
I have a lot of memories of important plays that Andre has made over the years, crucial plays. He stripped the ball from LeBron in a finals game, and as LeBron was trying to shoot a tying 3-point shot. I remember he stripped Kevin Durant in a crucial situation in Game 6, the Klay game in the playoffs that year. You mentioned the other night in Boston, I think it was Jaylen Brown going to the rim, and Andre stripped him, and the ball went out of bounds off of Jaylen. And part of Andre's brilliance is this amazing combination of length, athleticism, and brains. And so it's not just that he's so bouncy and long. It's just the fact that he understands when to reach in. Most guys who do that, they end up getting called for a lot of fouls, but Andre just recognizes the timing, the angles, and just has an incredible knack for making that play.
And one sort of follow-up, Gary Payton the other night said that Andre's vision seems to improve with age. Because he made a couple passes the other night that I think Gary's point was no one else would have seen. How much is vision a part of his game and sort of an underrated element in basketball, right? If just to see the court.
Yeah. I mean, he's his vision at both ends, his vision defensively, seeing rotations, seeing ball movement, anticipating where plays are going. And then on offense, he's a great passer. He told me when he went to college at Arizona, he watched Luke Walton play, in pickup for his first few weeks on campus. And he said, I want to play like Luke Walton. And Luke obviously had just incredible basketball IQ and feel. And so I think Andre is a great example of someone who has combined athleticism and feel, and really took the time to study the game, learn the game, and had great coaches along the way. And in my mind, he's turned all that into a Hall of Fame career.
Can I ask one more if no one else? Memphis tomorrow night, they obviously handed you your first loss here. And John Morant, I think, scored 30 in that game. It has been a problem for everybody in the league. How without giving away your plans, how difficult is it to defend him, especially without Andrew, who I'm guessing usually gets the top perimeter player? I'm guessing Andrew had him a lot the last game. So how do you deal with him without Andrew?
Yeah, it's not an easy job, obviously. And their team goes so far beyond just Ja. As good as he is, they won 9 out of 10 without him while he was out with the knee injury. They did it with the best defensive rating in the league over that 10-game span. But, when you add Ja to the mix, he's so explosive that a lot of the defense that they play, deflections, block shots, turnovers, they turn into layups at the other end because of his speed. He's improved his shooting. I think he made 5 threes against us in the play-in game last year, which was the key to the game. So he's one of those guys who you have to go in with a plan, willing to give up certain things, and you've got to take away others, and that hasn't changed, regardless of who's guarding him.
We saw Klay working out on the court out there. Is there anything new on him in terms of just where he's at in terms of conditioning and things like that?
Scrimmaged yesterday. We had an off day, but some guys came in and scrimmaged with him. Looked great. He practiced fully today. So he's really coming along well, and nothing to announce or anything, but he continues to improve.
Are you at a point where you can sort of devise how you'll use him when he gets back in terms of how much he'll play when he returns?
Not really, because a lot of that will be determined by how he feels once he's out on the court. And so we haven't really had those discussions yet. I know how he's going to play in terms of what he's going to do. There's no adjustment to be made in terms of how we're going to use him. But the minutes and the combinations, those things we'll figure out on the fly. Great. Thanks.